Hey everyone, Mr. here. This is a guide for round 10 of the Manufacturer Series again. Let's get this started. Your first braking point is just after you pass the 100 meter mark. You'll be braking hard for a short while, slowly ease off of the brakes and bring yourself to the left side of the track. By doing so, you'll set yourself up to go through the S's, take advantage of this curb on the right, do a little lift off of the throttle if necessary, then just bring yourself to the curb on the left so you can try to get the car to rotate around this turn a little bit more. Then bring yourself to the right side of the track and brake when you reach the path that is on the right. It's hanging up behind the 100 meter mark. Brake hard for a short moment, ease off of the brakes, just let the car rotate around this turn and gradually start to accelerate. Do not get on the green turf, otherwise your car will want to lose control. Bring yourself to the left and brake before you reach the 50 meter mark. Just use a little bit of braking as you go through this turn, a little bit of throttle as you go through the second half of the turn, and use either the red understeer sign or the specific tire mark as your next braking point. You can also take advantage of this curb over here, then use a little bit of braking to rotate around this turn and gradually start to accelerate. Brake before you reach the black sign on the left. Slowly ease off of the brakes, just let the car rotate and gradually start to accelerate. Bring yourself to the middle, then ease off the throttle as you go through this turn, and finally brake well before you reach the 50 meter mark. Just let the car rotate once again. Try to straighten it out a little bit since it's a little bit easy for the car to want to oversteer on that final corner. Then smoothly turn in and try to stick to the left side of the track and you'll be good to go. Let's finish this lap and then we'll go ahead and talk about the strategies. For the qualifying session, you have 5 minutes to try to get a good qualifying time. So depending on the car that you're in, the tire wear may not be affecting your car too much, so if you want, you can definitely just go out there and just try to get fast times from the moment you gain control of your car. Or if you want to be a little bit more careful on your tires, whether your car is good on its tires or not, you can just go through the course a bit more carefully during your outlap. That way, when you go through the final corner, you can go at race pace and you'll be able to feel a bit more comfortable knowing that your tires aren't going to be wearing out on you so fast. If you can, try to get a slipstream from the car ahead of you while maintaining a good amount of space. That way you can go a little bit faster, especially through the high-speed sections, and shave off a couple tenths off your qualifying time. And I really do want to emphasize, leave plenty of space between yourself and the car ahead of you while in the slipstream zone. That way you don't get too close to the car ahead of you and you have to force yourself to slow down or end up battling with the car ahead of you and you both end up losing time on your qualifying session. With the 5-minute qualifying time and the long exit time from the pit stop, some people may only get 2 chances to try to get a good qualifying time. But if you're one of the first people to end up leaving the pit stop, then it is possible to get 3 chances to try to get a good qualifying time. So as you see here, we are on the first countdown from the 5-minute qualifying time. And we're down to 18 seconds and we're going to be cutting it a little bit close, but it's still going to give us plenty of time to try to get a 3rd qualifying time down. So that's pretty much it for the qualifying session. Just remember that if you can, try to get a good slipstream while maintaining proper amount of space between yourself and the car ahead of you, and you'll have at least 2 chances to try to get a good qualifying time. When you're starting your race, you do want to be a bit careful through the first couple of corners. So you do have a couple of hard braking zones up ahead and your tires are going to be pretty cold. So you do want to be a bit more aware that you might need to slow down just a little bit more so you can make sure that you can get the most grip with the little grip it has since the tires are cold. So you can end up making it through those turns, not end up overshooting a turn and make yourself look silly. So this turn right here, you also want to be a bit more careful. Just try not to stress the car out too much during the first couple of turns. So for this race, it is a tire and fuel saving race, so you want to be keeping an eye on both things as you go along the race. When you're going through the overall race itself, you do want to be shifting when the bar on the bottom of the screen is around 50 to 75% full. And when you go through the twistier bits of the track starting right here, you want to bring the fuel map to 3 or even 4. And it's pretty good to bring the fuel map to 3 or 4 over here, just because you're not using all the car's engine power as you go through these twistier bits of the track. When you want to go back to a fuel map 1, it's after you complete this turn right here. That's when you can go back to a fuel map 1. So basically everywhere that is not all twisty, that is when you can be on fuel map 1, shifting between 50 to 75%. And when you're about to enter that twistier bit of the track that I showed earlier, that is when you go down to fuel map 3 or even 4. So through this way, I was using a little bit under 5% fuel each lap, and that 5% is the goal that you want to try to achieve, since this is 20 laps. So you want to use 5% fuel or less. That way you don't have to end up refueling when you go to your pit stop. So as for the tires, the tire order is going to depend on where you start. So if you're starting towards the front, you can try starting on the racing soft tires. If you're starting in the back, you can try starting on the racing hard tires. That way you can get the worst tire compounds out of the way and gradually go on over to faster tire compounds. Now there is a bit of an interesting thing going on. So a 2 and a 3 stop are possible here. They do yield pretty close times, but it's all going to come down to how your car and your own driving style treats your tires. If your car and your own driving style promotes little tire wear, then you can easily go for a 2 stop. If your car or your driving style or a combination of both promotes heavy tire wear, or your car is really sketchy like the Lamborghini Huracan, then you can go for a 3 stop. So with the Porsche, it's pretty good on its tires, so I can easily go for a 2 stop here. So we skipped on over to the end of lap 10 just to show how the tires are doing in terms of tire wear. So as you go through the track, you'll notice that the car gets a bit more understeery, especially when you're turning left. So at that point, it's time to go to the pit stop and get a new set of tires. So because the Porsche can do 10 laps on racing soft tires before it starts to present a problem, you can once again do 10 laps on the racing soft tires, 9 laps on the racing medium tires, and only do 1 lap on the racing hard tires. And for the 3 stop, you can do 7 laps on the racing soft tire, another 7 laps on the racing soft tire again, 5 laps on the racing medium tire, and then only 1 lap on the racing hard tires. So whichever tire strategy you're going with, whether it's the 2 stop or the 3 stop, you want to try to only use the racing hard tire for only 1 lap. So here is a good case where a 3 stop might be a good idea. So here we are in the Huracan, and if you haven't driven the Huracan, just try to give it a quick spin, because this car is a little bit crazy. So this car is pretty harsh on its rear tires, so you want to bring the brake balance to the front of the car. In this case, I had the brake balance at -4, so 4 points towards the front of the car. And either way, while it does try to balance out the tire wear a bit more, the car is still going to want to try to kill you. So after around 5 laps on the racing soft tires, that's when you're going to notice that the car is going to start to slide around a little bit more, especially as you go through here. So you do want to be a lot more careful as you go through these turns as I'm sliding around. But anyways, once again, you do want to try to go for 7 laps on the racing soft tires, and then do another 7 laps on racing soft tires, 5 laps on racing medium tires, and 1 lap on the racing hard tires. And for all the tire strategies that I mentioned, whether it's 2 or the 3 stop, you can always adjust it. So if you're starting in the back, you can start on the racing hard tires instead, so you can get that out of the way. And you can always change it around on the fly if you need to make an adjustment that will present an advantage to you. or maybe even just make you feel a bit more comfortable driving the car around, or depending on the situation you're in. And once again, when it comes to fuel saving, shift when the bar on the bottom of the screen is around 50 to 75% full, and when you're about to enter the twistier bits of the track, go down to fuel map 3 or 4, and when you're exiting the last hairpin, that is when you can go down to fuel map 1. So that is pretty much it for this guide. Hopefully this guide makes it a little bit easier for you to determine what kind of strategy you want to go with. But I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. So this is Mr. MCA wishing you a good race, and I'll see you in the next video.